Transportation Security Administration employees will continue to have a union after a new court ruling. That's because a federal judge blocked TSA's latest attempt to dissolve a 2024 collective bargaining agreement that covers some 47,000 airport screeners. Federal News Network's Justin Doubleday joins me now with more on the case and what comes next. Justin, great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Terry.
So fill us in on the background here. Why was TSA's new attempt to eliminate the collective bargaining agreement rejected?
Well, TSA has been trying to eliminate the union agreement for airport screeners for almost a year now. This started back in March when Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem first issued a directive to eliminate collective bargaining at TSA. The American Federation of Government Employees sued, and in a June ruling, a federal judge issued a preliminary injunction blocking that action, finding that AFGE may have grounds to block the dissolution of the collective bargaining agreement. Well, in September, Kristi Noem issued a new directive, essentially saying that DHS has done a new analysis and that they are again going to try to eliminate TSA's collective bargaining agreement because, in their view, it is not in the interests of TSA. Well, of course, AFGE sought to have that order or directive blocked. They argued that it was essentially an end around the preliminary injunction issued in June, and U.S. District Judge Jamal Whitehead agreed with that, essentially saying that TSA and DHS here are violating the terms of that ruling, which said that TSA shall not infringe upon the collective bargaining rights of airport screeners while it's in force. So that's where we're at today. TSA's union agreement was set to go away over the weekend, but now with this latest ruling, it is still in effect while this court case plays out.
Why is the Trump administration so set on getting rid of the collective bargaining agreement at TSA?
Well, we know this administration is obviously against unions generally within the federal government, and certainly at TSA, which is kind of a special case. It's a newer agency, of course. It is not under Title V, so it's not covered by the same union rights that other federal agencies' employees have. And so over time, TSA has slowly gained collective bargaining rights that are on par with other federal employees. This administration has come in and said that the costs of collective bargaining at TSA, the fact that managers have to deal with union matters instead of focusing on frontline airport screening issues, and an increase in unscheduled absences under the collective bargaining agreement all add up to a need to do away with the TSA union agreement. And I think it's interesting if you look back at Project 2025, there was a goal in there to privatize airport screening and to move away from having government airport screeners in the first place. And Project 2025 specifically says that until it is privatized, TSA should be treated as a national security provider and its workforce should be de-unionized immediately. So certainly the administration is moving toward at least de-unionizing for now. They haven't said that they want to privatize airport screening publicly, but their deunionization efforts are on hold for now.
And what does AFGE have to say about the latest ruling?
Of course, they're celebrating it. They're saying essentially that the administration's efforts to strip TSA workers of a voice on their working conditions should concern people who go to airports. Their point is that TSA's workforce has gained these union rights because for a long time, TSA has struggled with attrition, with being a less than desirable place to work within the federal government. And so over time, TSA staff have gained not just increased salaries, but with this 2024 collective bargaining agreement, union rights that are on par with other federal employees. So things like sick leave, things like uniform allowances are all covered under this expanded collective bargaining agreement that AFGE says is needed to have a well-functioning TSA.
Well, TSA was really on the front lines during the government shutdown as well. So do they have a sense that the collective bargaining agreement helped them maintain the workforce during that difficult time?
Well, certainly the fact that they have expanded rights under that collective bargaining agreement so that they are not necessarily as subject to the whims of management when it comes to Sick leave, as we've discussed, the Trump administration has a different view on that. They view that as a big cost under this collective bargaining agreement that's unjustified. But, the fact that TSA employees got higher salaries several years ago, and the Congress has continued to fund those higher salaries through appropriations. I heard from several TSA employees that they were able to weather the storm of a shutdown more easily because they're making more money, and they know that they're going to have a bigger paycheck on the back end rather than having what was effectively close to minimum wage for a starter employee at TSA several years ago. So there's a lot of issues swirling around the TSA workforce at any one time. They're required to work through shutdowns. They're at the front lines of travel during a time of really record travel that's only going to increase even more. And so I think both Congress and even the administration, while they're trying to do away with the union, are acutely attuned to the impact that any changes at TSA have on travel and the ability for people to move around airports and move around the United States.
Well, it seems like this might not be the end of the argument. What do you expect to happen next?
Right now, this case is actually scheduled to go to trial in September. I would expect that DHS and TSA may try to move sooner than that to either appeal some of these rulings or to get this dismissed even earlier than that. But right now, that's where the case is scheduled to go. And in the meantime, they are supposed to be honoring that 2024 collective bargaining agreement that's in place until 2031, absent it being, of course, done away with. And so that's where TSA's workforce is today as they ramp up for a pretty big summer with the World Cup and with America 250th anniversary events coming down the pipeline. So it's going to be a busy year at TSA.
That's Federal News Network's Justin Doubleday. Justin, thanks for this story.
Thanks, Terry.
You can find the full story at federalnewsnetwork.com.